Hey, thanks for watching. Today we're going to carry out the Colligative Properties Lab, and what we're going to do today is we're going to study how the boiling point of water changes as we add solute to the water, creating an ever saltier solution. Before you get started, you're going to want to print the lab handout. It's posted on our website. You'll want to print that, and you'll need to be ready to collect data as we go. So we're going to be just following the procedure steps together. Step number one says that we first need to weigh out 4 3-gram samples of salt. We've actually already done that, but we didn't put them in test tubes. We just left them in weighing boats. Next, then, we're going to put 150 milliliters of water in a medium beaker, which we've already done. And then we're going to add what are called boiling chips. These are actually just little chips of marble. And what they do is they actually provide a surface upon which the water can boil, and it allows it, causes it to boil more regularly. Step 3, we've already set up our ring stands so that we're all ready to go. And what we're going to do now is we're going to begin heating our water. This is much like what we did in the last lab, where we were boiling water and measuring the temperature throughout. But this time the only data that we're going to collect is the temperature when the water starts to boil. We'll keep an eye on our thermometer here, and we will consider it to be boiling when the, as it says in the lab, we'll record the temperature when it is constant for 2 minutes at 30-second intervals. You'll notice that the thermometer is supported in the water so that it's not touching the bottom. And we're just going to keep an eye on that thermometer once this starts to boil. We'll check it every 30 seconds. Once it stabilizes for 2 minutes, we will then call that boiling, and we will record that data. So hang tight, and we'll wait for this to start to boil. All right, we're back. We're probably 4 or 5 minutes into the boiling process, and you can see on the thermometer that we're now in the 90s. And as we get up into the 90s, the water begins to boil a little more regularly. What we want to do is we want to keep our eye on that thermometer, and we'll see that the temperature will begin to slowly slow down the rate at which it changes. Again, once it begins to really plateau, we know from the previous lab that we've established boiling, because during boiling the temperature remains constant. So what we want to do then is we want to wait for that temperature to level off and remain constant for about 2 minutes. You can see in the beaker that those boiling chips are causing the water to boil more regularly, a little less violently, which is what we're after. So we're at 94.7 degrees. Drop this just a little. And we're still at 94.7. Oh, up to 94.9. Shouldn't have said anything. Tight at about 94.9. And 95. Give this about another 30 seconds, and if it continues to maintain at 95.0, we'll call that boiling. All right, I think we can call that boiling at 95.0 degrees. If you go down to your data chart, you'll notice that there is currently no salt added to the water, and our boiling point is 95.0 degrees. Now what we'll do is we'll shut off the burner, and we will lift the thermometer out of the water. With the thermometer out of the way, we need to now replace any water that's left so that we're always at that 150 milliliter mark. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add our first 3-gram sample of salt. Give this a stir until it dissolves. Like so. And we're going to reintroduce the thermometer. Should be a little cooler. Yep. Oh wow, we dropped into the 70s. Get this Bunsen burner going again. And we'll get this boiling one more time. I think we can probably leave this go, right?
Yeah, I think it'll get there pretty quick.
Yeah. Give it another stir. Oh. That's pretty dissolved. All right. So once again, we'll let this return to a boil. And then once that thermometer levels off for a minute or two, we'll record that temperature. All right, we're up to 95.6 degrees Celsius, really starting to slow down now. Looks like we've plateaued at about 95.7 degrees.
Just gotta hang on. Sorry.
Give that a couple more seconds. Seems pretty stable. Think should we call it?
Looks good to me.
All right.
Oh, it jumped. Oh.
Darn that thing.
Have to wait.
All right.
Looks good to me.
All right.
Let's
So
do
let's
it.
record that as our boiling point with 3 grams of salt added to our water. And again, we're just going to repeat the process. We'll move the thermometer out of the way. We will replace the water that we lost, like so. And another 3 grams of salt, like so. Again, give it a little stir. All right, salt's all dissolved. Introduce the thermometer again. That looks good. Fire up the burner. And Trial number 3.
Bit by bit.
Alright, there's 95.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're at 96.2. Let's give it another 30 seconds.
Sweet.
Call it?
Sweet.
Alright, so we're going to call that 96.2. Alright, 2 more trials to go. Pull the thermometer, add back our water. Three more grams of salt. And another stir. Put the thermometer back. Ooh. Wow. Holy smokes. Those cords are not terribly convenient. All right. Yeah. Well, maybe a little hotter. Okay. Like so. Get this burner going. Boom. What are we at?
89.1.
Alright.
Looks good to me.
All right, so with 9 grams then, we're at 96.6. All right, last trial. Pull the thermometer, replace the water, last 3 gram sample of salt. Give that a stir. Remember when we also used to do this lab with sugar?
That's right.
That was messy.
So it's been a while.
All right, I think that's got it. All right, so now we have 12 grams of salt total inside the water. And that looks pretty good. Last time. It's interesting how this first jump was 8 tenths, and then it's been 4 tenths from there.
That's what I was just looking at. It's so interesting.
Because it should be linear.
Right.
Let's see if this hits 97. Oh, look.
Do it. Do it. Yes.
Oh. Settling in. Uh-oh.
One more.
It settled in at 97, huh? All right. So 12 grams, 97.0 degrees. All right, so we don't need you to watch us clean this up, but if you haven't yet, before you move forward with this lab, make sure that you watch the introductory screencast, which is just a recording of the introduction to the lab. Certainly there's a description of the procedure, but the thing that you most want to pick out of that is the instructions on how to wrap the lab up. You'll notice on the back you'll be drawing a graph and then answering a conclusion question or two. Make sure that when you draw your graph, you do it on graph paper. If you don't have any, there's a link posted to graph paper on our webpage. Make sure that you print and use that graph paper. And then as it says in the lab, you'll be drawing an XY line graph. Make sure that you watch the introductory video so that you understand fully all of the expectations for that graph. And then please answer the conclusion questions. You don't need to type them on this lab, just write them out on the back. And then you'll be turning this lab in next time. So the lab write-up is really straightforward. It's just the paper that you printed, and then your graph and your conclusion questions are on the back. And that's it. Thanks for joining us.